Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome to another Planet FPL Clash of the Correspondents, the first of 3 pods featuring our correspondents this week. And this one's one of the toughest to call going into game week 32. Let me introduce you to our Brentford correspondent, Tom Med. How are you, Tom?
Is it really one of the toughest to call? I think we all know where it's going to go. But yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, okay. Spoiler.
In early.
Yeah, fine, mate. I suppose our Villa correspondent, Lee Jackson, who's in, thinks they'll probably go there and win. How are you, Lee?
I'm very good, thanks. Very good.
Is it that bad then, Tom?
Nah, I'm only joking. We're going to trounce them, aren't we? Surely.
What is this? Is this a blip, or is it you've had a run of tough fixtures? Where are Brentford at, mate?
No, I think it's a run of tough fixtures, to be honest. I mean, if you look at the games we've played recently, and to be honest, we haven't even picked up. It's not been as bad as it's looked, I don't think. Obviously, the draw against Leicester, which, to be honest, was their first point in about 6 or 7 games, which wasn't the best. But then 3-3 with Brighton, which not many teams have managed to score that many goals against them and get a result against them this year. A 1-0 loss at Old Trafford, which, to be honest, I thought we played pretty well in. I don't think we were that bad at all. For the first 45 minutes against Newcastle, we should have put that game to bed. I think it was the second 45 that we lost it, and then Wolves will call the blip, I'd say, because that was it wasn't great. But again, I mean, we had chances and 2 incredibly dodgy, unlucky deflected goals. I mean, it was 2 tackles which basically ended up back at their player, which went back in the net. So no, I think it looks a lot worse than it was, and it was only. I mean, if you take the 3 losses away in the last 3 games, it was what, 1 loss in 17, 18 games or something stupid. So yeah, I think it's easy to look at it and go, oh, what's happened to Brentford? We've gone to shit. But I don't think it's as clear, cut and dry as that at the moment. So
I think there's a narrative, though, in the sense that going into the game at Everton in game week 27, you'd only lost 4 games. We mentioned it a few times, saying, look, this is phenomenal. Yes, a lot of draws in there, but only 4 defeats. In the 7, including that Everton game, another 4 defeats. There's only 1 win in there, which was away to the team bottom of the league. So it feels like there is a bit of a blip in there. I mean, you not beating Leicester at home, almost, it feels like a bad result, really, considering what we expect from you this season.
Yeah, well, I think, to be honest, when you look at it, I think the one that, although, to be honest, it looks a lot worse on, but we went, what, 1-0 up at Brighton, 2-1 up at Brighton, 3-2 up against Brighton, and still ended up drawing that game. Again, Ivan Toney misses a penalty against Newcastle, which, to be honest, I thought the apocalypse was coming in after that one.
I was so certain his first miss was going to be for England in a World Cup, mate.
that had it written. So, no, I don't know. I mean, the performance, yesterday's performance, I think Thomas Frank even came out yesterday, and whether he was being a bit protective over it, but he said that in his opinion, the performance for Brentford yesterday was better than how they performed against Southampton when they won. So, I don't know. I don't think it's as bad as it seems, and I'm still relatively positive at the moment. To be honest, I don't think I'm ever negative about my team, but
well, no, you're pretty much on the case as happy-go-lucky as our mate Mr. Lee Jackson is when it's going well. Fucking hell, Lee, you're on some run, aren't you, mate? What's happened?
Unbelievable. It's just mad. It just keeps going on and on and on. I think I came on about a month ago, didn't I, when we were about to play Bournemouth, and we said, look, we've got a couple of nice fixtures, but then they turn. We've got away trips to Stamford Bridge and going to Leicester. That might not be easy. And then we've got Newcastle at home, and it's just kept going and going and going. Confidence just seems so high. Long may it continue.
Has it been an easy run?
That's what the stick, I think, that people who are wanting to put a bit of a dampener on our form are saying is that, well, actually, you look at those games and you should be winning those games. With the season Chelsea are having, you should be going there and winning. It has been an easy run, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And any team to put together a run of 5 consecutive wins, you're happy with that, aren't you? Delighted. Any team in the Premier League is a potential banana skin.
Well, it's not just that. Is it 7 wins in 8 with the draw being at West Ham?
Yeah.
Over 8 games, you're talking over a fifth of your season, mate. 7 wins and a draw in the last 8. I don't really care what your fixtures are. That's amazing, mate.
Yeah. Well, your old classic one to quote is 2 points per game for Champions League form, and that's what we've hit since Emery came in. It's 2 points per game, and that's now over the course of 18 games, I think, since he's come in.
What would you say to people with? There was a lot of chat prior to the Newcastle game, and there's not been so much of it since. But what have you made of people questioning, saying, "Are you well over exceeding your XG? There's bound to be some form of regression here," and then there might be with some more difficult fixtures to come for the rest of the season. But have you got an emotional feeling towards that?
Yeah, well, I suppose the biggest thing is that I don't care. as long as we keep outscoring our XG, it doesn't worry me. I'm not sat here thinking, oh shit, there's going to be regression to the mean at some point. I'm just thinking that's fine. Unai's given us no reason to doubt him. And I think the other thing is, I mean, people said that for a couple of years when Potter was at Brighton, is that they keep underperforming their XG. At some point, they're going to absolutely smash teams because they're going to start burying all these chances, and they never did they? So I think you can read into that a bit too much.
Okay, Tom, is the season over for Brentford in terms of its importance? Are you essentially in a freeway West London dance to see which two of you actually finish in the top half?
I mean, yeah. I mean, when you look at the form of sort of Villa and things and Brighton, and there obviously was talk about whether we could push for European football. I don't think that's going to happen. Whether it's over or not, I'm not quite sure really, because I think the way that Frank drills his players, that they'll definitely be playing for every point, and trying to stick a few of the big teams towards the end of our run would be quite nice. And I feel like he'll definitely get them up and ready for it still. I don't think there'll be any sandals on the beach. I think he'll look at his, like you said, especially with the Chelsea and Fulham sitting just below us at the moment, it'll definitely be one of those where we have to finish above them. And I think he'll use that as a sort of motivator to keep them going until the end of the season.
So would that be important to claim a top 10 finish?
I think definitely finish top 10. I mean, it'd be disappointing now to have the season we've had and then not to finish in the top 10. I think it'd be a bit disappointing. And I mean, I wouldn't mind. I mean, if we ended up finishing 11th, or even if we ended up finishing 12th, it's not the end of the world. But to have the season we've had and then to not finish in the top 10 would be a little bit disappointing. Obviously, each position comes with an extra bit of money, so I'm sure the club will be still trying to get the players to keep going and keep trying to finish as high as possible.
I said, Lee, a few weeks back, it might even be a bit longer now, I said Villa can't push for Europe, which has proved to obviously be incorrect. And a few villains pointed out to me at the time, said, yeah, hang on, we're going for it. I mean, it has taken this monumental run to put you into contention. But what's actually the goal here? Like, it's fourth possible.
No, I don't think so. I think that's probably getting a bit too carried away with it. I think top 7 is realistic. Is there a chance that we could stay above one of Brighton or Liverpool? Yeah, maybe. Do I think we'll catch Spurs? Probably not. I know you're going to nod. I think most likely, though, and maybe it's the pessimist within me, but I think we'll probably end up about 8th. I think 8th is where we will finish. But yeah, we were in with a real chance, aren't we? And why not? There was some chat from some Villa fans sort of saying, you know what, actually, you look at our squad and it's quite small. And if we get into Europe, we're not really ready for it. And it might be a season too soon. But my feeling, as I said 4 weeks ago when I was on the pod, is bring it on. If we can get it, let's embrace it. That's a nice problem to have in the summer, to say, actually, we need to go out and upgrade in a few areas to give us the cover to play 2 games a week. Bring it on if that's the problem we've got.
I'm not sure that your squad is as thin as people think it is. You have got a brilliant group of kids.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are out on loan at the moment. And group absolutely. Stage of, if you end up in the Conference League or the Europa, keep them. Don't send them out on loan.
Yeah,
feed them into these competitions, mate, early on.
Yeah. You'd be quite happy seeing your likes of Cameron Archer and Aaron Ramsey going out and playing, where is it, Romania or wherever they end up playing on a Thursday night. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that.
Romania, Lee.
No, I don't disagree with that. Coming back to Brentford, Tom, I was just going to say, it seems like you've come such a long way, considering I remember in pre-season on Correspondent Week, you were talking about second season syndrome and saying none of us think Brentford are going to be in trouble, but be careful, because second season syndrome is a thing. And it comes and bites a lot of teams that have really good first seasons.
Yeah, we like being the exception to the rule. So
You're going to be the third season syndrome.
No, third season's going to be Champions League, isn't it? So.
So I read a piece actually yesterday about fifth season syndrome is apparently now becoming a bit of a thing. So you've got a few years to go actually, but Lee's right. The bigger picture is it might feel a bit flat at the moment. The bigger picture is what we said, isn't it? Brilliant season, and if you do finish 11th, I mean, you'd have probably bit my hand off for that in the summer, wouldn't you?
Oh, I mean, the fact that there's even a conversation about Brentford potentially getting Europe is ridiculous. Sometimes I actually am on the thinking more so when of Lee's Villa friends, really more so that our squad's definitely not ready for anything bigger than what we're in at the moment. We definitely don't have the squad depth to go into any of these competitions. So I think another season just to sort of continue to build where we're at. You know, we obviously have the right models in place and we're doing a great job. So yeah, absolutely, where we're at the moment is amazing, and anything more we can get from that is just a bit extra. Really, being a Brentford fan at the moment.
Is that kind of in a weird way, Lee, kind of similar for you in the sense that okay, if you do finish 8th, it's probably kind of the worst it looks now. 7th might be the cut-off for Europe, subject to whams in the FA Cup where Brighton finished, or if Sheffield United win it. But I guess, does that really feel as a disappointment from here if you don't get Europe?
No way. We haven't finished in the top half for over 10 years. So if we finish 10th, at the start of the season, most Villa fans would have bit your hand off for 10th. So if we finish 8th now, that is fantastic. It just will always feel a bit of a shame when you come close. If it does, like you say, end up being down to 7th for Europe, you go, oh, we're one off. But have you seen our last 2 fixtures of the season? Could be really interesting. Got Liverpool away, Brighton home.
Really interesting thing, which probably leads on to FPL, is actually looking at the fixtures for both of you, because there's a temptation to say that possibly after you play each other, you might have the worst set of fixtures. Actually, both of you have got really rough runs. However, Chelsea for yourself, Tom, in 33, you'll be well up for, and particularly if they did turn it round against Real Madrid, have got their eyes firmly elsewhere. Forest at home's okay. Liverpool away might have nothing to play for. West Ham at home might be safe. Tottenham away might have nothing to play for. Man City at home final day might be on the piss, mate. It might have won the title a few days earlier. So that run maybe isn't as bad as it looks. And for yourself, Lee, obviously Brentford is challenging. Fulham at home. United away kind of falls in a period where they played Tottenham 3 days earlier. Then they go to Brighton a few days after that. Wolves away. Tottenham at home is not as, anyway. Liverpool away, similar as in Tom's case. They might have nothing to play for. And Brighton as well, final day of the season, subject to how you both are. Might even be a playoff for a Europa place, possibly even.
Could be the cup final for us.
Brighton's cup final, I've got a feeling, will be a week later than that, by the way, mate. So, Tom, is this a good run or a bad run with what you've got left?
I don't think it's that bad a run, John. I said it's not as bad as what it looks on paper. I don't think, like exactly what you've just said. I mean, we were saying just before we started that Brentford's results against the traditional top 6 this year has been for the last 2 years has been phenomenal. I mean, Chelsea, we drew back with them in whenever we played them previously earlier in the season. Man City, we've already beaten this year. Liverpool, we've beaten this year. Obviously, Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Liverpool, I think say Liverpool's probably our hardest game left, because I mean that's away, obviously, at Anfield. Man City at home, actually.
Not Man City final day. I mean, if Man City needs a win to win the title, then that's rough as, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, so we've only lost twice all season at home. There's a lot of draws in there, and obviously Man City are a different beast on the run-in, as we know. But I think Liverpool away is actually potentially a harder game than Man City at home, which is as ridiculous as that sounds.
To be honest, no one wins at Anfield, do they? In fairness, and you've both got to go there.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting away day. So
you haven't beat every one of the traditional Big 6 since you got promoted, Tom. There's one you haven't.
Is it Spurs, isn't it?
I mean, it's weird, but anyway, whatever. Interestingly, you also have a horrendous home record at Villa Park against Tottenham, which I want to say we've beaten you 8 of the last 9 at Villa Park or something.
That sounds about right. but weirdly, we've won twice at the new stadium at your new place, haven't we?
Yeah, I've got some good news for you. I'm going to be at Villa Park as well in game week 36. So you can take your 3 points and put them in the bank now. Lee, is it a tough run for you or not?
Yeah, I think it is a tough run. But you talk to any Villa fan and we're full of optimism because, I mean, we've done so well since Unai's come in. I mean, we've won at Brighton. We gave Arsenal a real scare at Villa Park where we probably should have got something out of that game if we hadn't have collapsed at the end. I'm beating Newcastle, obviously, this weekend just gone. So we've shown that against the big teams, we can really put up a fight, that Emery is capable of getting that defence so well organised that if we take a lead against anyone, it's going to be hard for them to come back into the game.
What is it that he's changed specifically? There's one thing you'd say that's different from the Gerrard period to what you're doing now.
I think apart from the system and playing that really rigid 4-4-2 at times, which can even drop into a back six at times if we're playing against someone really wide, that system when we don't have the ball is very different to under Gerrard, where it'd be two sort of sitting DMs in front of the back four that weren't sure how wide they should go or whether they should just stay central. And actually, the right and left midfield have been really pivotal in Emery, where they'll double up on attacking wingers. Whereas it felt like under Gerrard, when we played a 4-2-3-1, the wide players in the three didn't really track back that much. But personnel has been a big change as well. I mean, first game of the season, when Gerrard had everyone fit, he put Watkins, Mings, Buendia, and Douglas Luiz on the bench. I mean, you look at that now and you think, how on earth could you bench those players? But I mean, he had his mate Coutinho, who he never dropped. He fancied Ings over Watkins at the time. And yeah, Mings obviously he's stripped of the captaincy. But so there's a big personnel change as well as the style itself. I think Emery's sussed out his strongest 11. And I mean, we were speaking a few weeks ago about Diego Carlos coming back from injury, who hasn't featured all season since that Bournemouth game on day one. He hasn't even had a minute yet because Mings and Carlos.
Is he? At the moment.
No, Mings and Conser have just been so good. I mean, that's the other impressive thing about that run you spoke of. We've conceded like 2 goals, I think, in the last 8 games as well. It's unbelievable form, defensively as well as attack.
Do you have a preference on if you're playing against a team that's got a back 3 or a back 4, Lee? Is this something that's worse for you?
It's a good question. I think playing against back 5s, we struggle more because they have that width as well in their back 5, which we like to exploit with our 2 wide players on both sides. Whereas against 4 at the back, we saw Moreno bombing forward against Newcastle and gets a lot of joy from that. No, I'm not sure on that one, really. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to ask Tom what system he thinks they're going to play at the weekend, because we've become used to this, haven't we, Tom? It's back 4 on easier paper games, back 5 when you play one of the traditional bigger ones. Where do Villa fall into this line? I've got a sneaky that you'll go back 3.
I would also agree we go with the back 3. The issue is our only fit third centre back at the moment is Zanka, who, to be honest, when he's deputised this year, he's been fine. He's been absolutely fine. But I don't know. I'm not sold by it, to be honest. I think that potentially we'll stick with the back 4 because I think that you've obviously got Hickey and Henry on both fullbacks, and I think they've got pace enough to keep up with the likes of Alex Moreno, which you saw obviously Trippier didn't have against Newcastle. Hickey's obviously got a bit more pace than that. I don't know. I have no idea where he's going to sit this week.
Sound like your preference is a back 4
for this week. I think so. I think, as Lee was saying, obviously defensively Villa have been really great this, in the last few games. I think we need that extra attacker to come in and do a job, really. Having the 3 up front, we do always seem to have Toney in the box more so, which I prefer. And then we can use. I mean, Bummer's been pretty good recently. He was dropped a couple of games ago for Kevin Schade, and when we played a back 3, obviously he's now coming to the team and looks pretty great. And Bummer was back obviously this week against Wolves, and to be honest, I thought he's had a pretty good game himself.
You're free hitting this week, Tom. I take it Mr. Toney will be in that team, will he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I managed to have him out yesterday for the price drop and brought him back in today for a little bit cheaper. So I was toying with not having him, and it just looked so wrong. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what's going to happen. So
he could be suspended. You'd still pick him on free hit, wouldn't you? Third sub.
I'd sit him first. I'll put him starting and just let the bench come in for him. So yes, he's in.
Is that because you knew you were going to do that, or because you think he's one of the best free forwards to have this week?
I think I was obviously always going to do it, and obviously I'm incredibly biased. I do think he's going to start. He's on penalties.
I don't know if he'll score him now, though.
Yeah, well,
it's worth saying Villa's keeper is the best at saving them.
Yeah, he's only scored 11
world class Emi Martinez.
I ain't saying anything.
He's only scored 11 out of 12 pens in his career. So he's not very good at them. No, I mean he's on penalties. He's going to start the game. He probably is, to be honest. Because I mean the other options I've looked at. So I've been looking at sort of Darwin Núñez, Jesus. Well, Darwin Núñez, is he going to start? Nobody knows. And Jesus, obviously, because they've got a run in, they're going to play Nketiah or Trossard or mix it around a little bit. So you're going to get 90 minutes out of Toney unless he gets sent off or gets injured. So, which he now more than likely will get sent off and injured.
Anyone else you're looking at? Any other informed strikers in consideration?
I mean, I went on his podcast Sunday night and I told him to get his sack, for God's sakes. But
yeah, well, there's an ex-Brentford player who's also in my team at the moment who, frustratingly, we only sold for 25 million to yourselves. So looking at it now, we could have got a lot more money for him.
So, Tommy, go on, Lee. Sorry,
I was just going to say it's funny you say that now. When we sold Ings in January, there was a fair proportion of Villa fans who were sort of saying, "Hang on, we need Ings. Why are we getting rid of him?" And Watkins has just obviously proved them completely wrong.
I think the narrative around that was if Watkins got injured, you were in trouble.
Yeah, which he hasn't, so we don't know.
I think he never really got consistency under Gerrard, though, did he? It seemed.
No, it was always 60 minutes, get Ings on, or vice versa. And like I say, game week 1, Ings started, Watkins wasn't in the 11.
Emery simplified it, hasn't he, Lee? And Watkins has said that himself. He's simplified the game for him, not so much running into channels, constantly on the shoulder.
Very central.
His comment that he made after the game was very interesting, which was a big quote to take on. I won't repeat this word for word, but he basically said the message to the rest of the players in the team is give me the ball.
Yeah, look for Ollie. It was something like that, wasn't it? Ollie will be making those runs, find him, basically.
Yeah.
BT Sport also put a stat up that said Watkins has made more runs in behind than any player in the Premier League this season.
That doesn't surprise me. He's not a player that you drop. Toney will do it because Toney's a better creative player than people give credit, Tom. He'll drop in, and obviously he'll go in pats for the first header and people will run on behind him. Watkins just doesn't drop off anymore. Like, he's basically not involved in the build-up unless he's got people pinned in, but it's really high up the pitch, like the second goal at the weekend.
You watch him and he's constantly doing it. Even if the ball doesn't come to him, as soon as the ball goes to Villa's midfield, any of the midfield 4, he's like, right, running behind. No, it didn't come. Right, I'll try again. No, it hasn't come. And he'll keep doing it all game.
So, Tommy, you going Watkins as well, mate?
Yeah, for a bit of old nostalgia, I may as well have him in the team as well.
You're going to go Ben Rama as well? And
I was thinking about it.
Go full BMW, mate.
Yeah, why not get the
the band back together, mate.
I won't have Toney. I'll have Umbermo and I'll have Ben Rama and I'll have Watkins and I'll get the BMW back. That'd be beautiful. So
not more pay.
Yeah, no, he's dropped off a little bit. That was 25 million. Well,
I hope more pay scores this weekend.
I mean Watkins has just been on absolute fire and just looks back to the player that we sold for 25 million. I think back to Villa. I'm really happy for him, to be honest. I mean, he was a player I really, really liked Brentford, and the fact he's now playing and scoring shitload of goals. If we can keep him quiet this week, I'd rather have 2 points in my FPL team than him scoring a brace against us.
So is he no doubt for you, Tom?
in my
though
team
it's
this
against
week.
your team. Yeah. And we should say, for the benefit of the listeners and the viewers, all three of us are free hitting this week.
Yeah. No, he's the one that I'll probably take out if I have to take someone out. But that's me being the idiot Brentford fan that I am, because it probably should be Toney, the one that makes way for another player if I want to get a third striker in.
Lee, I assume you're having Watkins.
Yeah.
Toney?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I just don't think there's enough room. I want Jesus. And I think I want 5 mids.
Okay. So Tom's saying he's probably going both. Lee, you're saying just Watkins. I think I'll probably jump in and say Watkins is the more likely for me at the moment, but it's definitely viable to go with both. Tom, are you expecting goals in this fixture at the weekend?
I could see it. Yeah. I mean, the last, I'm trying to think of the big games that we've had recently where we've had, Fulham 3-2. I mean, we dropped a couple of absolute clangers to let a few dodgy goals in. We've been conceding quite a few pretty bad goals recently, but we're still scoring in majority of games. I think the Wolves game was one of the few we haven't scored in recently. So, I imagine us scoring, but I can also imagine Villa putting in hopefully just the one.
Lee, do you see goals in it?
I agree. Yeah, I think there's goals in it. I mean, in our 8-game run where we've conceded 2 goals, both of those goals were away from home, one at Leicester, one at West Ham. So yeah, it seems we are more prone to concede away from home.
So Tom, I've got Rico Henry and David Raya in my general team. Am I binning them on this free hit?
Well, Rico Henry, yes. David Raya, you set his standard points total at 3, don't you? Because he always gets a save point, or he gets 2 save points if he concedes more than 1. So, and then to be honest, if you start getting those saves, he ends up at like 4 or 5 points. The man's an absolute save machine.
We got 5 at Wolves, 11 saves 2 at Brighton. What did he get at Brighton? 6, was it? 6 points?
He conceded 3 goals and ended up with 6 points because he got, 11 saves and 3 bonus points? No, 2 bonus points. I mean, the way we set up is really good because it does just mean teams do love to take shots from nowhere near they're going to score. It's like your 0.01 XG shots, and Raya loves to eat those ones up. So he is someone that you can definitely go with this week. I'm currently sat on Sam Johnson for Palace, but whether actually I do just go for David Raya because
you're a biased Brentford fan.
Exactly, yeah. The problem is I've got Watkins in my team, and as you both do, and do I want to have a player that's playing against a goalkeeper that's...
The thing is, what's interesting about this with Raya, and actually I think we can put Martinez in this conversation as well, Lee, is if either of you do keep a clean sheet, they feel like the sort of keepers who really could be 9, 10 pointers, whereas like a Johnson, listen, if you get a 6-pointer, you're obviously happy, but that's probably what it'll be if he gets it. That's how it feels. Whereas if Villa win 1-0 or if you win 1-0, Tom, then it feels like the keeper could really haul.
True.
Yes. Yeah, I think Raya's a really good, isn't a bad pick this week. I'm not going to say really good.
I agree. Both those goalies have got such high ceilings where you throw a penalty save in there if it happens as well, and you're looking at a monster haul, aren't you? I'm the same as you, though. I've got Johnston at the moment. I just think Palace are the most likely to keep a clean sheet. But like James says, it's probably a ceiling of 6 points.
I think as well. I'm almost definitely going with Watkins. I just think the form's too good at the moment. And I think, Tom, if you look at the last few games, you are giving up chances, which is part why these Raya returns are coming, and you put a big informed striker in front of that at the moment. I think we can reasonably expect that it'll probably return again.
Yeah. Therefore,
I'm not going Raya. If I go Watkins, I'm not going Raya.
Maybe I'll go Darwin Núñez and get Raya in just to spite myself.
Would Raya be a better choice than a Henry or a Pinnock or a May?
Oh,
for this week specifically.
I imagine so. I mean, obviously, defensively, it's more from set pieces where obviously we were scoring our goals. I don't think Villa are particularly bad at defending set pieces. I mean, obviously got Tyrone Mings, and you've got, again, ex-Brentford player Ezri Konsa in there. You've just picked them all up, Lee, over the last few years. Good old Dean Smith when he stole them all. But no, I mean, from a set piece point of view, I don't think we're going to have loads of joy against Villa. I don't think they're particularly prone to conceding against set pieces. So if I think we're going to concede, which there's potential we will, I wouldn't go with any of the defenders this week.
Would Martinez be the best defensive Villa shout?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I think it's a real toss-up actually between him and Moreno. If Moreno plays as attacking as he has done the last few weeks, and I don't see why he won't. He's been electric, bombing forward, constantly overlapping, and McGinn and Jacob Ramsey, whoever's on that side at the time, is finding him in behind. And what did he get at the weekend? 10 points, I think. And he's got that potential where if we do keep a clean sheet, there's a good chance he might get an attack in return, and then you're looking at double digits, aren't you? Very quickly. I think I'd give Martinez the edge though, just for save points as much as anything. Where if we do concede, you can still get those save points, but it's really close. I do really like Moreno as an asset now, especially at 4.6, 4.5. It's a really good price.
Would you rather have, just because you both mentioned Palace, which I think is very reasonable to mention this week, would you rather Lee have, say, Martinez and Gay, or would you rather have Johnston and Moreno?
Again, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that kind of coin flip, isn't it?
It is a coin toss.
Route.
I think it's really tight. Probably Johnson Moreno is where I'm at.
I don't think most people will go defensive for Villa this week, though.
No, I don't.
And the numbers you've suggested, I mean, the real numbers are really good in terms of the goals conceded. And I want to free hit. I want to go for the player that I think could haul. I don't think I can escape that. And I'll think of it like that. If it's probably more the Palace one. I think Gay versus Johnson. To keep a clean sheet, it's 6 for either. Johnson's not going to get me anything offensively. Gay might. Whereas Martinez feels like he could haul versus a Moreno. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So I'm undecided on the two of them. I would like to, because I want to go for Watkins, I'd quite like to go for a Villa defensive player and add to that, I think. It's between Moreno and Martinez, I think. Or should we consider a Mings or a Konsa or an Ashley Youngley?
I just don't think they've got the value. Moreno's clearly shown now that he is first choice. Luca Dean hasn't featured, he hasn't started, I should say, sorry, I think since the Everton away game, which was a long while ago now. So Moreno's clearly first choice. And Mings, Konsa, neither of them ever quite seem to get the goals that they maybe should do from set pieces. So no, I think if we had a player, a centre-back, a Lewis Dunk, who was really capable of scoring from set pieces, a real monster in the air, then I'd say, yeah, go for it. But when Moreno's cheaper than Mings, I think you've got to go for Moreno. Like you said, you want the fun pick on free hit with the upside where you can potentially see double digits if everything goes our way.
Mings scores and you keep a clean sheet. No, same thing, isn't it?
Potentially, but a clean I suppose if he scores, yeah. But he doesn't score many.
No, fair. Tom, Matthias Jensen.
Yes.
Is that a complete overlook this week?
I mean, this week. No, I think it's someone that we've overlooked throughout the season. More so, I think he has been. I still think. I mean, still recently he's been great. He is our best creative player, and is on majority of set pieces. But I don't think it's one that you'd want to go on this week, especially when you've got likes of like Eze and Elise, other midfielders that we could potentially punt instead. So
because of a little bit doubts of Mbeumo and Sade, and perhaps for free hitters specifically, the want for other forwards this week, are Toney the only offensive one to consider? Yeah,
I mean, Sade is really interesting. If you're sort of really, I mean, you won't be, but I'm sure if you were somehow stretching budget, if you had, I don't know, Kane and Salah and Nunes, for example, he's only 5.1. It's not that much cheaper than, so it's cheaper than that, I think. But yeah, he's obviously playing left wing and has been preferred over Mbeumo recently. But yeah, it would be a risk. Might be one just to stick on your bench if you did want to go for it.
What about the mids at Villa? Buendia and Ramsey are worth discussing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you touted Buendia quite a lot a few weeks back, and he backed that up for quite a while with a few goals and assists. But I think for those of us on free hit, I don't think you can go there. I just don't think you can go that over a Palace mid or a Maddison. And I think most of us are going Salah and at least one Arsenal mid as well. And I just don't think the Villa mids quite offer that. Villa have got a clear talisman. It's Watkins. And the mids, they just tend to share the points. Douglas Luiz has popped up with a few assists. Ramsey's capable of a goal. Buendia gets a goal here and there. You've got your Baileys and your Traores. It's just too shared out, really. There isn't a standout pick, I don't think.
Okay. So just to close the free hit discussion, because I want to talk about some longer term potentially holding some of your assets. Tom, what Brentford do you think you have on free hit?
Definitely Toney. Maybe Raya. Now we've talked about it.
Any Villa?
Yeah, Watkins probably. He might be the one that makes way for someone else, but yeah, at the moment Watkins.
And Lee, opposite question.
Almost definitely Watkins. Maybe Moreno. And no Brentford.
So no Toney.
No.
You know what's coming, mate, don't you?
Yeah, hat trick.
That's the Yemi Martinez penalty save, obviously, mate. Tom, am I right in saying you've still got Toney in your team, just generally?
Yeah, I've still got 3 Brentford in my team.
So who are the 3 you've got?
I've got Raya, Rico Henry, and Toney.
Right, so we've got the same 3. What are you planning?
Keep Raya for the rest of the season.
I thought you were just going to say keep them all for the whole season and ask Lee the question.
Yeah, no, Raya definitely is staying for the rest of the season. Toney may make way at some point, but it'd be very briefly, just for the double game weeks coming up more so. But that'll actually probably be Kane actually out. So as long as Toney doesn't get booked against Villa, then I'm probably keeping him for the end of the season. Rico Henry will probably make way for a Man City defender in double game week 34. So Rico's probably the only one that's making way, and I'll probably stick with Raya and Toney as well.
34 is really interesting for you. Not in a Forest at home.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm currently sitting there at the moment thinking I could move these all on, but if I don't, I'm quite happy to play them if the worst comes to it. That's my take at the moment. And what I'm manipulating at the moment probably means Henry will probably go. But I think I might end up playing the other 2 in 34, which, having watched Forest again on Sunday, I'm quite happy with at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah, the nightmare I've got at the moment is, so I've done a bit of a plan, and at the moment I've got Raya starting in goal for 34, but I'm benching Toney for a double game week player at the moment because I literally can't fit him in the team,
grim.
Which is horrible. So, and that player that's currently is, looking at the plan, it might be that Enciso for Brighton.
So this is, we obviously spoke about him Sunday night, and I spoke about him on our pod on Monday as well. But if you're genuinely there and you end up getting him, or let's say Ferguson as an alternative, do you actually play those Brighton players with a double rather than just Toney and Forest?
Exactly, yeah, it's a really, really tough one.
Lee is shaking his head, going, I'm not happy with that, yeah. I would not want to bench Toney at home to Forest. No. I'd almost rather sell him. Just sell him, and I'll bench Watkins at Old Trafford. Almost feels better. That almost makes more logical sense.
Yeah, love a double game week player though. So
yeah, we all do.
So do I. All right, different question then, Tom. If you get there, and money's tight for whatever reason, you're looking at say Nunes. Do you get him for Toney then? If he's got say Tottenham and Fulham at home with a double.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's someone that I could lose for a few weeks. I think it'd be someone I want back though. That's the only problem, because I feel I don't really want to flip flop between players towards the end of the season. I feel like he's one of those players that if he doesn't get booked this week, because obviously if he gets booked this week, we're in a bit of a nightmare situation. But if he doesn't get booked this week, he's one of those players you can just hold for us, because he has the potential just to, third top scorer this year, and he's been incredibly consistent.
In terms of the booking, if he doesn't get booked this week, is that he can't get his ban?
Yeah,
that's it.
That's the last one.
Okay, fine, that's good.
Yeah, it's 30-second match for each team.
So we know it's going to be this week he gets booked, isn't it? So
yeah, of course.
And Mrs. Forest, I don't even mind that. It's almost
works
like
for me.
Take the decision away from me.
Yeah.
So I don't have to decide whether to play him or bench him or not in 34. So you said you made a plan, Tom. Well, I'm interested to know the other kind of, let's say, green fixture you may have left, and I think Sudra will probably agree with this, is West Ham at home in game week 36, which is currently where we think most likely the Newcastle Brighton game is going to go. And if you look at everybody else's fixtures that week, they're good as well. So, I mean, you've got obviously Arsenal at home to Brighton, but you're not going to bench Arsenal assets if you've got Liverpool at Leicester, you've got Man City at Everton, United have got Wolves, Newcastle and Brighton would have doubles. If you had a Kane, that's almost impossible to bench in any game, even though it is Villa away. Would you bench Toney at home to West Ham as well?
No, definitely not. No, exactly that. Exactly. So, I mean, I'll be at the game as well. So, to watch when you watch Toney have a few hauls, it's always nice to have him in your team as well. So, no, that's why I feel like he's one of those players you can just keep for the rest of the season, because as we've seen throughout the season, he can score against pretty much every team.
So why are you considering benching him in 34? I don't think I could do that, Tom. I just love the idea that you're gonna start him against Villa, start him against Chelsea, bench him against Forest, start him at Anfield.
But you know I'm a deluded Brentford fan, so I'll keep him more places. It's just a double game week. I don't know. There's something about a double game week player. It's just the 2 punts, isn't it? You know, all you need is the double game week player to score 1 goal.
Yeah, but it's perfect cases. It's nothing to say Nunes is the example of using. We can use, Martial might be another one, for example. You don't even know they're going to play twice. You know your bloke's going to play. No, that's true,
yeah. Yeah, well, absolutely, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I'll have a think and I'll probably keep. At the moment, the plan, he is in the team. He's in the team. It's just who do I play him in that week? So, but no, he'll be probably staying for the rest of the season for me.
Lee, have you got any Brentford in your normal team?
Yeah, Raya and Toney.
What are you thinking?
I'm pretty sure in what we are 32 free hit, 33. I will sell Toney to fund Saka to Salah, and I'll just take him down to like Greenwood.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And Raya would stay for you, would he?
Yeah.
Who's your other keeper?
Kepa.
Okay. So if you're forced to play Raya in some of these more difficult fixtures, such as Liverpool away, if it comes to it, you're all right. If Kepa was to lose his plays.
Yeah, at the moment, I'm looking at Kepa to Ederson in 34 there to give me Ederson throughout and double.
To give you a guaranteed 4 points in game week.
Yeah, exactly.
while Raya hoovers up 9 points against Nottingham Forest. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. 34. Fuck, I don't want to bench your players that fixture. Tom, Lee, you've obviously got Watkins. Is this just a keep through now, or do you look at them fixture and think there are opportunities for other players?
I've got no plan to sell, not until I see that his form's dropping off. Like you said, he's just in too good form to drop. I think sometimes as FPL managers, sometimes we overthink it. If a player's in red hot form and has shown that he can score against any team in the league, just keep.
So there is an obvious one looking down the line, I think, that might appeal, and it's Watkins to Isak in 36 if that Newcastle double happens. And I'm asking myself, am I really going to sell Ollie Watkins before he plays Tottenham at home?
You know how that ends.
But that could be a popular move, couldn't it? Once we get to that point, let's say if you have dipped a little bit, Tottenham, Liverpool, Brighton last 3, and you've got Newcastle about to come into a double and have Leicester at home the following week.
And that could
potentially be popular, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think for quite a lot of people as well who are in a similar position to me, where you've got triple Brighton, you've got double Newcastle defence, you've then got a slot for one more potentially if they're doubling. Yeah, that Watkins to Isak move, you can't argue with that really if Newcastle are doubling.
Yeah, the reason for saying him is it's another one where the benching headache could be so bad that week in 36, really could. What are you doing with him for 34 then, Lee? You starting at Old Trafford or the bench?
I've got 2 different drafts. One would be him on the bench, in which case I'd bench him and I'd play Shah home to Southampton. But in the other draft I would sell Watkins to fund buying Trent. So either way, at the moment, I'm probably not going to play him in 34 at Man United.
Tom, what's your Ollie Watkins plan?
I haven't got him, so I probably won't own him.
Okay, that's fair enough. Have you enjoyed missing out on these points recently?
I've been luckily helped with having Tyrone Mings in my team as well, who's been just honestly the best purchase I made this season, I think. So absolutely glorious. So
yeah, it's another one I kept speaking up every week and didn't do that. Yeah, absolutely. Studs law. What's your plan with Mings? Is he just a leave? Because I think definitely looking ahead at Villa's fixtures further on, you probably won't pick him often.
I think he's just easy to hold though, because I mean I bought him really cheap as well, so he's not taking up money.
Yeah.
He's so cheap you can just sort of benching here and there, and when they've got an easy fixture, you can just throw him into the team. So easy to. I mean, unfortunately, I benched him this week against Newcastle, but you can just pick and choose when you bench him. And obviously, with Villa's form and obviously Lee talking about how defensively good they've been, I think it's relatively easy just to hold him.
Home Fulham in 33, you can play him, can't you? Other than that, though, I don't think there's as many. James will say play him at home to Tottenham in 36, but most of us would.
To be honest, not necessarily, because like genuinely, like I said, that it's so rough that week. The benching headache that people are going to have in 36 if the Newcastle Brighton game goes in there is going to be amusing, because I think most will naturally end up with probably minimum 5 from Newcastle Brighton. And Brighton's double will be so rough. Newcastle away and Arsenal away. But particularly with the offensive guys, you're definitely going to play them with 2 fixtures, aren't you?
And they'll start both, probably.
Most likely, subject to obviously what you've got. Have you got any Villa other than Watkins, Lee? No. At this stage, if people didn't have Watkins, Lee, like Tom, would you say don't bother? I just mean generally if you're buying and you're running through this week.
I think if you're running through this week, you can buy Brentford, Fulham. Next 2 are the best of probably our fixtures to go, other than Wolves. Well, you got Wolves in the next 4 as well, so it's not complete dire straits. But I think if you're free hitting this week, you maybe missed the boat. And there's certainly an argument to say you have missed the boat in general on Watkins. I mean, he's 7.7 now. He keeps going up in price. So he's not the cheapest anymore. I feel like as soon as you start pushing 8 million, it's like, oh, that's quite a bit of budget, isn't it?
Yeah, it just feels like the best of it's gone. But then, if you've got a forward at 8 million issue who's going to get you a return every week, and we say every time we pod, 2 blanks in games that you started under Emery, that's it's not a joke now. This is 4 or 5 months worth of data we've got. Lee, are you thinking of captaining him in 33?
It's definitely not out of my thoughts too. I think Fulham home's a nice fixture. I don't like captaining a player when it's like a title challenge game like Man City Arsenal, but it's Erling Haaland. I mean, he's one of a kind, so I should probably break my rules for that and just captain him.
So you mean the player that scored less than Ollie Watkins since the World Cup?
Yeah, that player. Thank you. I'm not sure where I'll end up on that, but I think it's it should be a consideration. I think it really should.
Is he the best alternative that week, would you say, though, in 33 to Haaland?
Salah at West Ham's good as well. I don't mind that.
Maybe. Tom,
we saw what Newcastle did at West Ham.
Do you look at that Fulham fixture and think, shit, I want to get him in for a week? Or is it just a case you're just planning too much towards the teams with doubles now?
No, I mean, I've made my bed really with not having him, so I'm sort of past the boat on that. So my only move would be Kane down to him, but that'll probably be Kane down to Isak at some point, or Enciso, as I said. So I mean, I definitely missed the boat, until I won't be going for him. I'll probably just stick it on that ridiculous inhuman man.
Kane to Watkins 1 week, Watkins to Nunes. Then Nunes, you have to put a double and at home to yourselves in game week 35. Then on to Isak 36.
No, it would require too many hits to have all the doubles that I want in 34.
It's fun,
so
isn't it, Tom?
It is absolutely. No, I've missed the boat, so I'm just gonna live with it. Unfortunately,
if people are running through and want to buy a Brentford player at this stage, it's similar? It's gone now? Yeah,
I mean as you said, I mean, the fixtures are tough. Obviously, I'm optimistic of how we're going to do, but there's easier runs of games for other players. I think you've probably missed the boat. They're definitely easy to hold. Obviously, Raya, Toney, we've already mentioned. They're really easy to hold. If you want to keep Rico Henry again, you can. It's not, I'll be holding him until probably 34, maybe slightly longer if it all works out right. But there's no reason to sell them.
Tom, I can't wait to see this screenshot of you benching Brentford players in 34. I swear.
Well, it's not going to happen now. Every time it happens, every time you go on this pod, it's like, I'm thinking about I might sell someone or I might buy someone. Was it right at the start of the season? It's like I had Umbermo. It was like, you need to get Toney, got Toney, and then he got a hat trick. So I'm now not have to bet. Keep. Oh
yes, you missed the hat trick against Leeds, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I got him in for it.
Oh, you got him in for it?
Yeah.
Blinded.
I had to make a public announcement
Didn't
to
you have
Sean.
Didn't you have 3 Brentford players and Toney wasn't one of them?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Love it, mate. Guys, absolute pleasure. Tom, plug your pod, which had me on earlier this week.
So you can come listen to me, my podcasting shall I try again?
Yeah.
You can listen. Yeah,
I'm not cutting it out, by the way.
No, I know you're not. I know. FPL by Dummies. We record mostly every Monday with my friend Cam. James very kindly came and joined us yesterday, and that's out now, so you can go listen to that and listen to James and Dr. Tottenham.
Was a pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. Where can everyone follow you personally on the Bird app, mate?
I am FPL Dummy Tom on Twitter.
Good man. Lee, do you want to plug your new microphone?
Yeah.
I think all the correspondents are dying to say. Do you want to hold it up or anything?
Hello. I'm not going to make a look at that.
Beautiful,
isn't it?
It's better than mine.
that didn't look dodgy in any way, mate. That is definitely getting clipped.
Oh, wait, what? Did you say the microphone?
It was the way where it came up from, mate. Lee, where can everyone follow you on the Bird app, mate?
It's Lee_Jackson_92.
Good man. Put your dildo away. Right. Sky Podcast is back tomorrow. Me and Serge has said 2 more COTCs this week. Thursday, Arsenal versus Southampton, Adam Pritchard, Matt Samuel, and Friday, early, Liverpool versus Forest with Dan Lord and Mark Subbins. Just leaves me to say, no shit, we didn't do predictions. Tom, prediction, correct score.
2-1 Brentford.
Lee.
2-1 Villa.
I'm going to agree with one of you. I'm going to agree with you, Lee. I just think you're on fire at the moment, mate. Right, that's it. I'm ending the podcast now. Cue music, please, man child.